everyone, and welcome back to another steamy rom-com review. So today we are looking at the manga Our Fake Marriage. Just to clarify before I get into this manga series, I'm 4 volumes in. I don't know if I should be announcing that before I actually start reviewing it. Most of the time when I review something, I'm fully updated, I've read it all, but sometimes I just read a little bit and then stop. So some of you might be asking, what is Our Fake Marriage about? Yes, I wonder what this could be about. So this pretty young lady you see here just recently lost her job. Her roommate has moved out, so she can't afford her apartment anymore because her roommate moved out because she was getting married. Oh no, a continuing theme! So because of her bad luck, she has nowhere to go and no money. Then she bumps into a childhood friend. Yes, this is a childhood friend rom-com, believe it or not. And that's this guy right beside her. So he grew up to actually be a rich playboy. And after hearing about her whole situation, he thinks to himself, this could work to my favor in some way. So the deal is, she has to pretend to be his wife. And in exchange, she can live in his giant apartment and he'll pay her. Now, the reason why he wants her to pretend to be his wife is, well, for one, appearances, because it always looks nicer when big business guys have wives, it looks like they're more responsible and, all that stuff. But also because he's a playboy and he's really sick of thoughts. So he really wants to begone thought all of the girls he had one night stands with because he doesn't want to get back with them. So he's like, actually I'm married. Sorry. So it's a pretty basic and humorous premise. I think that it works a lot better by the fact that they already kind of know each other and were friends when they were kids. And of course, since he has that playboy personality, he will make advances towards her, which of course is where the steamy section comes into play. He makes advances towards her, she gets all flustered and of course rejects him because she's like, it's all fake. We're in a fake marriage. We don't do that. And she doesn't really have any plans to actually stay with him. She wants to get a job and eventually move out and not do the fake marriage anymore. But I will say I did enjoy the scenes with them together pretending to be married and how she gets all flustered but she has to just go along with it. It very much does romanticize the idea of being married and the idea of having someone that you share a place with and share thoughts and feelings with. And of course it also plays into the fantasy of, dating someone who's rich and having them buy things for you and living the extravagant life. Because of course he's like, no, if you're gonna pretend to be my wife, you need to look like I buy you things. And getting even more into the more romantic side of the series is this idea that they did know each other as kids and he did actually like her as a kid. So this is actually his way of living out his fantasy of being married to her, what could have been if we had actually gotten together. And I do find that drama itself very interesting, and I like seeing the romance between these two grow. I especially like the second volume. First volume is a good introduction, but the second volume has all the cutesy stuff in it. And then by the beginning of the 4th volume, they actually get together. But I will say the 4th volume was probably my least favorite so far, and it's actually where I stopped reading. I don't know if the 5th volume has come out yet, but that's definitely the one that was the most updated when I was reading the series. Now, getting into the problems this series has, I will have to spoil some things, just to be clear. The biggest problem I think this series has is that it's repetitive, and the things that they repeat are tropes. Tropes are fine, in a way. You can work with tropes, but you just can't do them super often. You gotta have your own unique twist. So something that's repetitive in this series is that our main female protagonist will go off on her own, maybe the male protagonist is off doing something else or he's busy. She'll go off on her own and another guy will come in and try to rape her. Okay, it sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud. Because it is. Because if it happens so many times, it's getting ridiculous. What, is this girl so pretty that no man can resist raping her? And it would be okay if it happened one time. It is a trope. It is a trope. It happens all the time in these romantic comedies where the girl will almost get raped and the male love interest will step in and save her, and that's all romantic, right? Like, oh, my hero. But I'm willing to, like, accept that that is a trope and that will happen a lot in these mangas. But it's like you get one. You get one that I can accept. When you do it 3 times, you're pushing it. You're really pushing it. This girl just can't stop almost being raped. And one of the interesting things that they have in this version that I downloaded to read is they have these Inbetweeners, little comics where the author, artist, you know, will say their whole thought process while writing the manga, and, you know, things that them and their editor talked about. And I kind of like that. I like the behind the scenes little mini comics that they put into manga. I honestly think that that enhances the experience of reading it so much, at least for me. Maybe that's just because I'm a writer and I like to look at other people's thought process when they're writing and see all the psychological ways people put together stories. But one of the things they mention in those side comics is that the first male character to come in and try to rape her originally was not supposed to try to rape her, but the editor wanted that to happen. So that kind of makes me wonder, was it just not supposed to happen this many times, or was it such a success the first time that they wanted to do it again and again? It's very curious, it really is, because girls should not be getting raped this many times. Now, another big thing is, I mean, obviously you know that it starts off as a fake marriage and then it becomes more and more real, and they actually develop more real feelings for each other. They actually want to be together. We all know that's coming from the premise alone, so we're all anticipating that to happen. And then finally at the end of volume 3, he's just like, why don't we actually get married? And it sounds very sudden. I guess he was just feeling it in the moment. And then in the next volume, they finally consummate their love. They have sex, and they actually are in a relationship. Not just faking a marriage, but he actually does want to marry her. Like I said, we're all expecting this to happen, but the build-up was kind of weird. Like I said, it's literally him just being like, hey, why don't we actually get married? It's just all of a sudden. But here's the problem that I have with it the most. Volume 4, when you're building up to a relationship being like official, you're expecting there to be like really cute things. You know, you're expecting there to be very much more romantic things when they are finally together officially. And the having sex is great, you know, that's romantic, that's cute. But then immediately after, there's already relationship problems. Like, he's already too focused on work. He's a workaholic, we already knew that, but he's too focused on work to actually spend real time with her. It's just like all these problems that were just never solved. You're building up and building up and building up, and you're expecting like this big reward when they finally get together, but instead it's just kind of a bummer. And that's probably why Volume 4 was one of my least favorites, but just because it was kind of a bummer of a volume. They finally get together, but then what happens? They have issues. Volume 2 actually has like more romantic things in it than Volume 4, and it seems like it should be like the opposite, right? And so that's probably the main reason why I didn't keep up with the series after reading Volume 4. I was just kind of disappointed. I can tell it's still ongoing, and I have an idea where Volume 5 is gonna lead, just based on me understanding basic tropes. I would probably still check out Volume 5 and future volumes just to see where it goes and if they can bounce back. It's not a bad premise, they're not bad characters. I did enjoy reading most of it, but like I said, it's just repetitive, and it didn't really have that reward for the two actually getting together. Instead, it just focused on, hey, let's add more drama. And I'm not against drama being in a rom-com if it's well placed. But anyway, that is my little review of Our Fake Marriage. Have you checked out this manga series yourself? And if so, what do you think about it? Any thoughts? Leave them down down below in the comments section. That's what it's there for. Remember to like and subscribe. It's free. Did you know that? Thank you guys for watching. I'll be making more manga reviews in the future. I actually have a few in mind that I want to do. I'm just waiting for the right time. Also, if you have any recommendations, like I said, that's what the comment section is there for. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!
Program restart.